Hello Kai, my dear friend. I'm doing this quick video to help you because I've been thinking about overnight. On a personal note, you're overthinking the money saving thing, but anyway. Now, I wanted to give you a few rules of thumb. There's a catalogue that goes along with this, and that's the it shows the universal beam, the U channel. So universal beam is what I call an I beam. This will look mirrored whatever I do. A U beam, a U channel. Okay, so they're both hot rolled. If I can write this backwards. There we go, hot rolled. Okay, now they come in various lengths from sort of 7.5 to, I think you can get up to 20 meters, but you know, for practicality purposes, you keep it sort of, should write this, less than 20, I think it's a good number. Now, less than 12 meters, if you can get away with it. Now, that's a SHS, square hollow section. Now, so if I was ordering it, I would call that 50 by 50 by 3. So 3 millimeters is the wall thicknesses. That's usually pretty standard. Sometimes for heavier stuff you can go 5. So your standard sizes are 50, 50, 75. This is going to come out wrong. Maybe I'll just flip this, and you can flip it upside down later. No, you might be able to mirror it. I'll see if I can mirror it. Yeah, so 50, 75, 100, 125. Now there's also RHS. So in those multiples, so usually it's 50 by 75 or 50 by or 75 by something. It usually goes up in 25 millimeter. You can get a 65 millimeter RHS, which is handy if you've got 75 by 75 and you want to put in something that slides inside of it. You can get it using 65 millimeter flat bar RHS. Now also 75 millimeter, you can get flat bar. It usually comes in much shorter lengths. So 10, 12, 16, they're usually the main ones that get used. 50 again. If you can get 65 flat bar, that can fit as a cap on 75mm flat bar quite nice. That'll save time. So yeah, 50, 75, 100, 125, there's a limit, but usually all these here they get supplied between sort of 6 and 8 meters. So whenever you're designing something, make sure that the cut sizes are going to be used efficiently. That may not be possible with some things. Sheet metal. So sheet metal's a funny one. So let's say we have a piece of sheet metal. Okay, now these usually come in 1200, 1800, 1500 and 1800 width. So 12 by 24, 1200 by 2400 millimeters is standard size. That's basically across the board. So that is pretty important. Also in the length you can get 24, you can get 18, but you can also get these in 900 if you've got shorter widths. So 24 and 36. Usually the go. I'm just going to shut this door. Now, if it gets painted, you want if it gets painted, you want zinc enamel, which is a zinc coating, but it's easier to weld, but the paint will stick to it really good. If you use zinc aluminum and galvanized steel, for instance, it's been a long time since I'm out of the game. So if you use gal steel and try to paint on it, the paint won't stick. It just doesn't. You can get galvanized paint that sticks to it, but it's pretty shit, really. Now, here's the funny thing about sheet metal. Okay, so you've got and it comes in thicknesses, weird ones, but 0.55, 0.9, 1.2, 1.6, 2 millimeters, 2.5, 3 millimeters. I call 3 millimeters is the line of demarcation. So now this piece of steel, okay, it is 200 millimeters lengthways. Okay, so that's 200, 100 millimeters plus a 50 plus a 50. I want to fold that up. So what's going to happen? You're going to end up, let's say let's call it 0.9 millimeters thick, 1 mil. Okay, so So in here it's 50, here it's 100, but here it's going to be 102 to 102 and let's call it 102 and a half, and here it's going to be 51. Okay, yeah, you're feeling what I'm jamming? Let's say we've got another fold on here the other way. That's another 50. You end up with 51. Now why this is important, let's say if you're putting this on a something, for instance, so you want it to go over something like this, and you want to pull it back 5mm from the edge so it's not hanging down. So you've got a nice radius here, and so you've got this distance here, but you want it to sort of come over here and go up. And so if you want it to go back a certain amount from here, from the outside to inside, you need that fold will actually be so we call that will be 40. If I pull it 5mm back, let's call it, yeah, so that'll be 45. Now inside to outside here, so inside to inside, so that'll actually be 49. Okay, so that'll make that flush with this here. Right, okay. Now, the other thing, sheet metal, and with all metal, even with flat bar, 10mm flat bar, if you're folding it in a press, holy shit, that's bad. Oh, that's terrible. That'll do. Alright. So you've got your piece of sheet metal here. Okay. So it's 2mm. This gap here has to be 8 times the metal thickness, so that has to be 16mm wide, which means theoretically you might get a 10mm fold, maybe, if you can imagine. So it'll sort of sit like this. And then as the blade gets pushed down, it folds it in half, and that will sort of fall down if there's not enough hanging over. So, you know, you'd make that 15 minimum, really. Rules of thumb, so up to sort of 1.2mm. So if you've got a safety edge, so you want something folded right over and flattened, up to 1.2, so less than 1.2 is 12mm. Okay, otherwise if it's 1.6, you might, you know, geez, you're pushing shit uphill trying to get a safety edge on it. That's why you use thicker. You might as well be using thicker steel anyway. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the other thing here. So if you're folding, another folding thing, if you're folding a channel, it's horrible, aren't I? Okay, so let's say we've got a piece of 1.6 millimeters and we want to fold it into a U shape, and we want to fold it because it's 1.6 times 8. You're going to fold it. You're going to fold it in a 16mm die roughly. So we're going to say let's pick a number here. I guess it doesn't really matter. So let's say we want to fold that. We want to make this 30. We want to make this 40. We want to make this 40. You're not going to do it because you're going to have one fold here. You can imagine the blades coming down like this, okay? Right? So you get the first fold in, but when you fold the second one, this, because it's already folded, it's just going to hit against the blade and not work, and everyone is going to hate you. So, you know, don't do it. Design it differently. So design a channel wider than it is deep. So if that's 40, make this 25. You might be able to stick 30. Well, I think you will be able to get 30 there, but that's about it. But don't go deeper than it is here. And yeah, I hope this all helps you in your cheat sheets. And oh yeah, another thing, sheet metal. So roughly, if you're designing like a bench or something like this, usually this is how we fold. So 50, this is inside. So 50, 12, this is 1.6, 1.2, 1.6 ish still, yeah, 300. Okay, so 300 with a 12mm kick edge at the back, and so what's that? Because it's 351. So then you've got from 1200. Then you've got, you know, shitloads to play with. Okay, and sheet metal can also come in rolls. I forgot to mention that. So you can get like infinite rolls, depending, but you're limited by the equipment. Yep. Okay, so I hope this all helps. I'll scan these if you like, let me know, and I'll send them over. But yeah, that's the quality is shit, but you know, shit happens. It's all reversed. Cool. Good luck with it all.